Yay. Okay.
I get the sign it's live on YouTube.
Amazing.
So let's hope it is.
Absolutely. Right. Okay. I'll just
Somebody has written something. Okay.
right then. So hello and welcome to season 9 of the Mundane to Magical online summit series. My name is Louise Matson, and as always, I am truly blessed to be your host. Today, I'm really excited to welcome back to this penultimate live call of this season, the wonderful Maria Fels. Maria joined us for season 6 of the summit and shared how she works with astrology, focusing on the position of the lunar nodes within your birth chart and how they relate to your soul purpose in this lifetime. And for those of you who have not come across Maria and her work, however, here is a brief introduction. With a university degree in business administration, Maria supports people with their inner organizational structure. She's a karmic astrologer, intuitive life coach, empowerment coach, and icecracker. Her autodidactic studies were in diverse fields of psychology and nonviolent communication. She was also a self-defense teacher and is an interpreter for women living with domestic violence, a singer and nature lover who also enjoys communicating with animals. Maria is a natural intuitive which enables her to support her clients to the deepest level with a chart reading, a card reading, or just by talking in a conversation. Maria states that in the 25 years that she's been coaching clients in 5 different languages from different backgrounds and cultures, her challenging life experience has been her greatest educator, and that she's really very grateful for it. Now, the topic of our conversation today is very much linked to that, which is transforming violence into self-love, the voyage of the soul into love. And I'm sure we can all remember episodes or experiences of violence in our lives and have all at some point directed violence towards ourselves in the way we may have thought or spoken to or about ourselves. During this conversation, Maria will share her voyage from violence to self-love and how our astrology can assist us to return to gentleness. And I'm acutely aware that we're also going to be experiencing the eclipse energies during this conversation. And what perfect timing to be talking about the uncovering and transforming of violence into self-love with the energies of a lunar eclipse in Scorpio surrounding us. As you're probably aware, Scorpio is all about uncovering that which is hidden and bringing it to the surface for resolution, and synonymous with shadow work. So let's get started. It's my absolute pleasure and honor to welcome you back to the show, Maria.
Hello, everybody. I'm very grateful, Louise, that I'm on your show again. And it's a great pleasure just being here today with the lunar eclipse already in progress. It started about 2 hours ago, that the half shadow of the earth started to cover the moon. And it is an eclipse we don't see very well. Only the schooled eye who knows what to look for will see the eclipse. But it doesn't matter because the power of it is very strong, and it will help us to get into the next phase of our lives. Eclipses have always had a great effect on changes in humankind. It's always lasting changes that are provoked by it. And that's why many people have always been afraid when it got dark or something, but I tell you, there's nothing to be afraid of. Life will go on. And we will have the opportunity to make a major step into awakening, which is absolutely crucial at a time being. Since we had our solar eclipse on April 1920, the energy is very intense. I'm sure you all feel it, that something is different. I mean, there is more violence in the air, more aggression. I mean, you might also have emotional outbursts. I mean, everything is possible now on a emotional level, and it can also go into physical. I mean, we will see what happens next in the world. To be honest with you, I don't watch the news because this energy is too strong for me. And I get all the news. I mean, I got the news about Russia yesterday being on this show, so I don't need to watch the news. So that's how I protect myself. The effects of the solar eclipse will last until into 2024. We also have Pluto in, he went back into retrograde last Monday, which was also a great energetic happening. And he will be in Capricorn, I don't know, I think it's in June also, beginning of June, and then he will go back into Aquarian, to and fro. Until Pluto will stay in Aquarian in November 20 at 2 p.m. And there he will stay until 2044. So we have a chance now to look into our own old structures, into our own old topics. I will dive into violence later on. I just give you now some astrological information, how you can profit from it for your own inner path. Because now, also with this lunar eclipse, we have such a big chance and such a great energy, you know. And with the moon in Scorpio, I mean, it goes deep, you know, but you know, it's great to go deep and not see anything, and then all of a sudden you will see something, you know. So what is also the case is we don't know what will happen in November 2024. Will the world still be ruled by a minority of people, or will we take our lives into our own hands and we will live our life the way we wish? So it's also up to us. We don't need to stay in a victim role and say, okay, it's them who have the money and who are leaders that will, they will dictate us. No, I mean, you can dictate your own life. You can be the master of your life. And just use this Pluto energy also. I mean, I'm the commander of where I go, and nobody's telling me, and nobody is doing it for me. We have the choice. So that's how you can contribute to the changes in the world.
It's such a beautiful opportunity as well to use the energies of the eclipses, and as you say, not to be fearful, not to go into the shadow of the terminology of eclipse, or you know what other people have felt the meaning of eclipses have been in the past, but actually to take this opportunity. I mean, after this, I'm going to go to a friend's and we're going to do a fire ceremony. And we're going to release through that ceremony, you know, everything that has come to our conscious awareness. And so again, you know, use whatever is coming up, whether it's an emotional stuff, whether it's mental stuff, whether it's, you know, patterning, old ways of being that have surfaced and resurfaced in this time. Use that awareness to just say, I'm done. You know, like you say, be the captain of your own ship and say, I'm done with this. And I'm consciously saying, I let go of this. So, you know, however you want to work with the eclipse energies, and of course, it's not just today. We're feeling the eclipse energies for quite a period of time, but whenever you're guided to, allow yourself to release in whatever way works for you, what is coming up, but explore what's coming up through the energies and what's coming to the surface, bubbling to the surface, and maybe challenging you at this time. But so yeah, carry on, Maria.
No, great, you said it very beautifully, Louise. And you know, it's with Moon in Scorpio, it's also the topic of power. I mean, whom do I give the power? Do I stay in my power? I mean, and again, I'm saying we have to stop to stay in a victim role. Life is not happening to us. Life is happening for us. And we have the scepter. Do you say this in English, scepter? I mean, you know what the kings...
Yeah.
We have it in our hands. That's how we say it in German, you know. So what I was thinking, I mean, the lunar eclipse already started about 2 hours ago. We are in the middle of it. In a few minutes, we will have reached the peak of it, and then it will go down again for another 2 hours. Full moon will be about around half past the hour now, you know. So I would like us to say consciously hello to our present lunar eclipse by connecting with our heart. And I will guide it a bit. I mean, it's a few minutes, and we will set the intention to clear what is hindering us from love. Because that's where we actually all, if we are conscious of it or not, where we will land one day. After all, we will go through all the mountains we have to climb and whatever. So just make yourself comfortable and close your eyes. You can put your hands, one hand on your heart. And we welcome the lunar eclipse to come in and to show us the energy of the lunar eclipse. May it lead us to where we have to go. I set the intention to clear whatever is hindering me from becoming love and living love, starting with self-love. Okay, then we come slowly back and open our eyes. I'm really grateful to be here just in this moment. When I chose the date, I was not so conscious about what moment I had chosen. You know, it was just, yes, 5th of May is perfect, and full moon, and okay, great. But thank you very much. And also the spirits. So the lunar eclipse has always got to do also with endings and completion. So you can, if you have your chart, you can have a look where the lunar eclipse is, I mean, where the full moon is in your chart. And I mean, we know it's in the sign of Scorpio. So you look into your chart and you see where which house it is. And then you can ask yourself, what topic is it actually? What does it, where do I stand with myself at the moment? In which process am I? Just, you know, easy questions. And then maybe there you see the connection with where it is in your chart. Questions we also have asked when we had our solar eclipse and the new moon was, and it's still valid, this question can still be asked. Have you made changes in the last few years and months? Are you living your individuality? Pardon. Are you in the I am energy? The I am energy is Aries, Mars. It is the energy of new beginnings. I mean, when you look now how the flowers started to come from down the earth and how they start to blossom. I mean, it's amazing what power lies in this energy. This is Mars. And by the way, we are also in the Mars year. So whatever, it will be until next March. So whatever we do, I mean, we can profit from this energy, you know, so you can read about Mars, or maybe some people already know about it, and take it into your life, this active energy, you know. So because of all this turmoil going around us, and we might come into situations with people where there is a lot of violence, aggression, out of control situations, also with yourselves. I mean, it can be that you walk into somewhere where it's happening, or it can happen with yourself. Try not to let yourself into this energy. Stop and step aside and take a deep breath and just keep the balance within, because it will not serve you when you go head forward into it, and you will not change anything by, I mean, let's say somebody shouts and then you shout and everything, and in the end somebody hits one another. We can't solve things with violence. These are violent acts. So take yourself out of it, because you hurt yourself more by going into it than by giving yourself the chance to stay in the middle, and just observe what's going on. So this is very important in these heavy times we're in, and we don't know what will come next. I mean, we are not yet in a solution phase, okay? We are now, the energies might accumulate, and one thing I would also like to mention is that we also have Mercury retrograde. So this means, and we had it conjunct with Uranus a week ago. So very explosive energy. And in the beginning of June, Mercury and Uranus will again be conjunct. And Mercury will be direct from the middle of May. So we have a chance also, first, by diving deep with this Scorpio energy and rethinking, I mean, what situation we are in. Mercury is all about communication with ourselves and outside, with technology, computers, Zoom, Facebook. We had all issues. And I must say, a few days ago, I usually have a good sense of orientation, but I lost it somehow. And this is also Mercury. And also my motor skills, I said, okay, I just take notice, you know. So you have also the chance to think about how you speak. Mercury is also how you express yourself. It's the fifth chakra. And all about, I mean, take your time, and you have enough time. We don't need to hurry, and don't think I must achieve this until then. If I don't, I will not make it. No, let go, breathe into your heart, stay grounded. This is a main advice for these times, is to stay grounded and go within, then you can calm yourself down and don't let yourself be triggered by what is going on outside. Focus into your heart.
One of the things that I really liked about the intention that you set for just that really tiny connection into the eclipse energies was releasing whatever is hindering us from coming into self-love, because for me self-love is such a fundamental aspect of being all that we are and allowing ourselves to be all that we are and allowing everybody else to be the all that they are, which may be different, but it's something that we were never taught. It's never been taught to us as children to practice self-love, and in fact we've been taught quite often the opposite.
Yes.
And I think it is a really fundamental aspect of being sovereign, of standing in your sovereignty and for spiritual health and growth. So, I'm really looking forward to you sharing, how we move from that state of violence, whether it's experiencing the violence around us and being triggered by that, or, expressing violence towards ourselves in the thoughts that we direct towards ourselves, or the words, the language that we use about ourselves, completely unconsciously most of the time, because that actually is what we've been taught to do. So yeah, it's really interesting with the astrology, because again, we're not victims to the astrology, but it's having that awareness of the astrology. We can then kind of have that 10,000 foot view and navigate our way through it by going, okay, I'm going to use these opportunities that arise in reflecting upon how I'm communicating, how communication is occurring in my life, or, what communication I'm seeing out there. Do I resonate with it? Do I not? And, again, Pluto, retrograde Pluto, it's giving us that opportunity, looking at the structures in Capricorn, where are my structures? Where are my rigidity? What am I holding steadfast to, which actually may not be in alignment with self-love coming into that heart space. So, yeah, it's lovely, this conversation.
I enjoyed very much. I will not give you any magic tools. I mean, you're already all doing it. I will just put it to the point, how we can get out of violence, by telling you a bit what I went through later on. And one thing that's really essential is to stay in the moment. I mean, there are many fears in the air at the moment. How will life go on? We have war there. Somebody else is being assassinated or in danger. I have a sickness. My relationship is not good. I don't know how to do it financially. Where will my money go if everything breaks down? I mean, this is all mind occupying thinking, and if you dive into it, you won't get anywhere, because the answer will not be given to you. It's in a process. So what you can do to take yourself out of all of this is to be really strict here. Use Capricorn energy. Follow the rule by sticking to the moment. It's in the now that we can solve every problem we have. I can tell you, I've really been going through dark times, and these past few years, actually my whole life. But for the past few years, I thought, if nothing happens, I really can't anymore. Can you help me, spirits? Louise met me in this time, so she knows. And I decided I'm going to live in the now. I don't care anymore. I don't care if I have to pay the bill there. I don't know how to do it. I'm not thinking of it. I stay in the present moment. And sometimes I would get up in the morning not knowing how will I make this day, because I was energetically too low. Then I would stand in my sitting room and talk to the spirits, and I'd say, please do help me. I want to get out of this, but I don't know how. Because we don't always need to know how to do it. We have to ask for help, that we can do it, and we will get the help. And I would notice half an hour later, oh, my body is lighter, feeling better. And so this is my medicine now for getting well and for getting out of any kind of situation I'm in. Just stay in the present moment. It's actually the easiest, simplest tool. And we've all forgotten about it because we have to think of pension plans, making insurance contracts about, I don't know, our death or whatever. So that, I mean, you know, things, why don't we live now? We live tomorrow and we forget the now and we miss our life now, you know. And I think nobody of us wants to miss the life now. Life is beautiful and it brings you so many flowers. I just read that this full moon is called flower moon. Yeah. I haven't heard of it. Yeah. I said, flower moon, oh, beautiful. Oh, May, month of May, how beautiful, you know. So that's what, yeah. So just to make us aware about the topics we are in this solar, in this lunar eclipse with Scorpio energy, it's the topic of power, control, sexuality, deep relationships, conditioning, toxicity from outside and inside, and secrets. Scorpio has to do with secrets. And we are asked to look within. So, and the Plutonic energy helps us to get deep into the mud, actually. And I just say a few questions you could ask, you know, just to give you an idea. Do I meet my needs? Where have I disempowered myself? Where have I let somebody trespass my boundaries? What are my fears and shadows? Sometimes we don't know, we get triggered by something. We are not conscious. It's all to become more conscious. You know, everybody, also us teachers. I mean, we are in the dark many times, right, Louise?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I just talked to my client yesterday telling what to do, and today I'm in the darkest moment of my life, you know, but this is life and it's exciting, it's an adventure, it's a chance. How do I treat myself? Am I gentle? Am I violent? Be aware what you do with yourself. How do you speak to yourself? Well, how do you think about yourself? Watch them thoughts, what's going on in your head, how you judge yourself, how you analyze everything and pull yourself apart, you know. And what prevents me from living the true me? What is it that prevents me? Now is the chance to catch it, I tell you. So, as I said before, dive into the mud. There is this beautiful dragonfly. Imagine, he's a Scorpio energy animal totem. He lives in the mud for 2 years about, I mean, very long. Maybe it's a bit less, but I just remembered that. And when he comes out of this mud, and he doesn't live a long time out of the mud, but he's a beauty. So have this in mind. It is this beauty that will replenish you when you live yourself, when you're true to yourself, when you're honest to yourself. You know, don't make a show in front of yourself. Sometimes we have to act a bit with other people. Okay, but be honest with yourselves. You will harvest what you sowed, positive or negative. There's no way out of it. And Plutonic energy also stands for dying before you are reborn, awakened. It's like the phoenix that gets out of the ashes. I think we all have heard of phoenix. And yeah, hang on. I'm just checking something because I don't want to miss on all the important information I have for you, you know. But I'm getting everything, you know, from every corner. So I actually said that. Just a short repetition. Mercury helps you now to get more aware about what's going on with your own communication. One advice, don't sign any contracts when Mercury is retrograde, because there might be misunderstandings, defaults in communication. So just wait, you know, these 3 weeks, it's not so important, but you're on the safer side. Yeah, and this about the old structures. We said look into it where you still stick to old structures and let them go. What doesn't serve you is dead, you know. So leave the corpses behind you, you know. And this is also Pluto. Pluto is Hades. He had all the dead people, you know. And Mars, he was the warrior. And he always brought the dead people to Pluto, you know. And Pluto is also the diamond energy, you know. This stone is attributed to Pluto, you know. So let your diamond shine. I mean, Peter was already speaking about the diamond at the beginning of the week. So it's your diamond. Create your diamond within you, okay?
And also the diamonds created through high pressure environments, you know, it's created carbon forced and pressurized and then becomes the diamond, but we've been through that process, you know, we've been through the high pressure. It's now allowing us to kind of Spirit's just showing me kind of like scrape away all the crud, scrape away all the detritus off the diamond that actually now exists within you, and kind of go within and again reap that which you've done the work to a large extent to become that, to create this diamond within. It's now kind of allowing yourself to connect in with that, and again that comes back for me to the journey into self-love and actually appreciating ourselves and not focusing on the challenges and the pressure that have gone into the creation of the diamond, but actually appreciating the diamond and letting go of, yeah, okay, I went through that pressure, but focus on that diamond that's come out of it. It's because everything happens for a reason, you know, and that is for me the process, that journey through and letting go of being triggered by the emotional impact of our experiences. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is perfect and in perfect timing. It may not feel like it to the small human self, but you know, even for me with this physical issue that I've been going through since January, you know, we were talking just before we came on the call, this eclipse is the Scorpio Taurus axis, and Taurus is all about the physical body, the physical form. And so of course, you know, I've been experiencing all of these physical things. And the Scorpio is going in deep and uncovering that which was at the root cause of it, and allowing myself to let go of that without judgment, without all of that violent wording towards myself, and just clearing the need for that symptom to show itself within me so that I can move forward in my diamond state and shine bright.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I just remember the gospel, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And this is really, I mean, to give ourselves the right to shine our light, to show our diamond, and not just feeling ashamed for the gifts and talents we are having, but just showing them. It's not a showing off, but I remember ages ago, I mean, I used to say, I'm sorry that I speak so many languages. I mean, where are we? I worked a lot to get this knowledge. I mean, I wasn't, it was not in my cradle. And I had very tough times living in England, learning English, being an au pair girl, looked at like a scum, you know. And I just said, no, I'm going to learn this language. And then later on, feeling ashamed for having this knowledge. I mean, you know, show your talents, show your achievements, live them, appreciate them yourself. If you don't do it, nobody will. So it's all up to you, you know. And this brings me to one question. How loving are you to yourselves on a scale of 1 to 5? I mean, we are not in a quiz now. Nobody has to say anything. Just reflect on it. How do you give yourself a number, you know? We should do it every now and then, because sometimes we fall out of certain good habits, you know, and we get back into old habits. What is triggering at the moment, I can feel it in myself, that it's an accumulation, this solar eclipse, lunar eclipse time, this whole period. I mean, I have to go through all my old wounds, and this very intense, you know, and it's the hell of a time. But I feel great today because I said, yeah, it's a chance, you know, and now I can speak about how we can solve it. It will empower me too, you know. So I want to give you this really. Just don't give up on yourself. Just go ahead. And, you know, you don't need to be into astrology or know anything about lunar eclipses and all this and Pluto and whatever. It's not, this is, for me, it's a part of my life, yes. But you can do this without all this, you know. The inner path has to be followed to become a happy, loving person. This, everybody has to do it. How he or she does it is not important. It just go your way, give yourself this gift. This is important. If it's okay, I would like to go into the topic of violence a bit. How come that I'm actually, I was actually led at the beginning of this year. Spirit, God told me, you should bring violence into your talks or interviews or whatever. I said, yeah, but how shall I do this with, I mean, astrology, violence and whatever. And it was a time I had more translation business for women who have lived domestic abuse. And that's when this started coming in and getting concrete. I would just write down violence, self-love, violence, love, creativity, you know, no idea. So in my life, violence started actually already in the womb of my mother. She didn't want me. Then I came to this world and I was sexually abused at the age of 1.5. And I only knew this at the age of 35 when I just opened my business. And I had a lot of emotional violence, abuse in my youth, childhood. I have lived rape and been beaten up as a woman, making wrong choices. And So my life was actually full of violence. And I thought, okay, I can understand people. I mean, it's men and women who live violence. It's not just, I'm now a woman, that's why I can just talk of myself. And it is very difficult for certain for a certain progress we can make in our inner development when we have lived a lot of violence. Because we get somehow numb, our body gets numb and our heart, emotions. I mean, we talked about it in the last summit, I remember, about this numbness in the feeling, which is tough because you don't, I mean, there were times I didn't feel anything. I mean, I also looked after my mother for 7 years. She was an Alzheimer patient, lot of violence. She almost killed me. After that, I didn't feel anything anymore. I was back in this violent aspect. So what I remembered also when Spirit was constantly telling me about going into violence, I remembered that I had been working as a self-defense teacher, helping women and girls. And I thought, aha, yeah, I've been working with this. So I have something. I mean, I have a knowledge, you know, sometimes we forget about our achievements. And I'm telling you all, remember your achievements. Whatever you've done in your life, maybe now it's in a drawer, you don't need it. But the wisdom you acquired, the knowledge you acquired, what has become of you is in this achievement. So pull it out, have a look at it, and reflect a bit on it. Maybe you can use it again. And I also recall the moment when I decided I don't want to teach anymore to combat violence with violence, because we would do techniques. Of course, we would also do verbal training. Yeah. But I said, I don't agree with this. It doesn't align to me that I have to hit back to get out of a situation. So I developed my own workshops and seminars, which were about self-awareness, listening to your intuition, feeling that something is wrong in a situation before it's escalating. Or
escalates.
Yeah, so just becoming more aware and then getting out of the situation before it's already violent, you know. And this was a good decision, because this was the time I also started to go into astrology, and I worked on myself. It's a lifelong process. I've had issues this week again. I mean, you remember we were talking about the house spirits, how they can help with neighbors. Yeah. And just the very night, I was challenged with another situation with the neighbors, with a lot of noise and things, and I had to call the police. Because it's really, I mean, never mind. But what I can say is, once you go into it and you look after yourself, it becomes normal for you. I was not trembling anymore, standing in the room because I defended myself or I did something for myself. It was crystal clear. No more. I'm not waken up at night by some people. So you get the possibilities to practice without having to look for them, you know. Sometimes it's a nuisance, and but
yeah, it feels very much that, again, you're sort of saying come into yourself, learn your truth, align with your truth.
Yeah.
And again, that does take radical honesty. So being honest with yourself, letting go of the judgment, leaving that at the door, and just being true to yourself. Actually, what is my truth? And actually, it feels like it's all around boundaries, which again we were talking with David a lot about. You know, ensuring that our boundaries are clear with ourselves. You know, because if we ensure our boundaries are clear, then the violence doesn't need to actually take place. Because if we've been in our alignment and setting our boundaries, And in all fairness, that is what has brought this physical experience for me with the illness, is I allowed somebody to step over the boundary that I had quite clearly set, and overstepped my own boundary out of obligation. And so my journey over this period has been, okay, unwrapping all of that and going, right, okay, because again, if we allow ourselves to overstep our own boundaries, or we allow others to step over our boundaries, again, that is a violent act towards us because they've overstepped our boundary. So that's what it feels like we're talking about here in terms of moving from violence into self-love, is the act of loving ourselves and owning our truth provides us with much stronger boundaries that doesn't enable the violence to take place, or it doesn't give it a reason to take place, as it were, because we are the creators of our own reality. So
yeah, and we can get out of it, you know. It is all a choice. Life is a choice. And you can go left or right, and then you will have the consequences of left and right. And as Louise said, it is also about making it clear to ourselves, and that it is not, oh, am I allowed to do that? You know, sort of thing. Still not sure, because we are so in this old pattern, how we were brought up. You must do it like this, and otherwise you're not okay. Okay, so I can't defend myself. I can't set boundaries, because then nobody will love me, you know, they will not be nice to me. But I mean, how many times have you lived in your life that you didn't set your boundaries? You thought, no, and you expected to be loved, and then you had the kick in the ass, excuse my language. I mean, it was getting worse and worse. It was like a horror picture show. The less I looked after myself, and that's what you were mentioning before, Louise, the more I got shit from outside. Yeah. So, okay, we want to survive, we want to have a good life, so we make a choice. And this choice we make now. Now I'm doing this, and we don't need to think anymore, is this okay, isn't it okay? I remember myself just, you know, always trying to be of no disturbance to anybody, you know, but it was just getting worse, all the violence. And we all know we have two different forms of main violence, which are obvious. It's the physical abuse violence, which is mass energy areas, first house. And we have emotional abuse, which is not always that obvious. This is Scorpio, this is Pluto, it's 8th house. And one thing you must know, that among the gods, Pluto would always wear a magic hat, and he couldn't be seen. But then all of a sudden he would stand right in front of you. Gosh, Pluto! You know, and this is Pluto energy. You know, it can't be spy stories. You know, that's all Pluto. James Bond, you know, getting into all this. Pluto, you know, and that's why it's important that we dig into ourselves to discover. It's a great energy to discover things, you know, uncover things. In life, I'm sure many of you have lived both sides, emotional abuse, physical abuse. And it's always been obvious to us after a while what people do to us. But one thing we have difficulty in seeing is what we do to others. That's one thing. And the other thing, which is really grave, what we do to ourselves. We ignore it completely. We don't look at it. It doesn't exist. So what we have to do is to go into seeing, detecting what we are doing to ourselves. or what we have been doing. And this can be done by observation. To observe consciously how you behave, you react, you speak, you think. You can even journal. You know, journaling in a process of detection is super. You know, it helps a lot because we forget. It's like achievements. You forgot about your achievements, right? Now, as I'm speaking, you suddenly will start, oh gosh, I've done this. Oh, it was great fun. I loved it. You know, so journaling will help you to get to the point with yourself. And one thing also is very bad. When we suppress anger within us, we are very violent to us. It attacks our liver. We can go into depression. This is how we get sick sometimes, you know, when we don't look after ourselves and we let life happen. And we are not for us, we are against us. We provoke sickness with this, or feeling bad, sad, I mean, you know. And I think we all deserve to be loved, and especially by ourselves. You know, nobody outside has to love us. It's not important. But love yourself. This is the essence, you know.
This brings me in mind of what Peter was saying about the internalization of the twin flame.
Yes.
And, you know, it's allowing yourself to find the twin flame within you, being that twin flame for yourself. And actually, again, the outside world is the mirror to the internal landscape. So if you're in a state of self-love and self-respect, and you've got firm boundaries, and you're connected to, you know, you're being the twin flame for yourself, you're meeting your own needs, then you're more likely to see that mirrored in the external reality, and for that to become a physical in the external. It begins and ends here inside ourselves. It's what we are projecting out into the reality, onto the screen, as it were, of the physical landscape.
Yeah, you're just doing one part of what is the contents of my presentation. Thank you very much. No, it's great. I mean, we are in a flow, you know. So you just said it in your words. And I just have to find the thread now. Excuse me. You see, this is, to me, I'm really triggered by Mercury. I can feel it because I'm usually very clear. I have no confusions, and I'm just sort of now taken out of my pattern. But it doesn't matter. I want to, yes, that's what I wanted to say. The first step to me to really get into self-love is to accept who we are. When we come to this life, we bring a topic with us. This I can show you in astrological counseling. I work with the lunar nodes. So you bring in the South lunar node. This is your topic. And this node lies in a house in your chart. So this is the topic, the sign and the house. And this is what you came here for, to work with. Maybe you've done it many lifetimes before. Maybe you will do it more lifetimes later. Doesn't matter. We don't need to know, because we are in the now. We have to deal with it now. And I can give you an example. Let's say somebody brings in his South node in the first house. And this is Aries, Mars energy. So one shadow can be being impatient, being very aggressive, getting into fights very fast, and just going with your head through the walls, we say in German. So, not thinking. This is a shadow. Skills and talents of this energy are being a pioneer, being brave, courageous, and just fighting for yourself, standing up for yourself. So in life, it would be advisable to bring this into a balance. And sometimes as children, we live it as a victim being beaten up or whatever, also as grown-ups. Or we might also be a perpetrator. It's not always, we are not always a victim. So reflect a bit on this. How do you perceive yourself? Are you a victim? Are you a perpetrator? Are you both of it? Or are you none of it? It's always good to see, to watch yourself. The more you know yourself, the more you can meet your own needs, which is also a highly important fact for yourself to be in self-love, is meet your own needs, fulfill every wish you have. If you don't do it, nobody will do it. There's no prince or princess who come along and say, oh, darling, let me carry you on my arms. I will do everything. What do you wish? Shall we go to Tiffany's or whatever? No, if you want something from Tiffany's, you go there yourself, Don't make yourself dependent of anything outside. Just dive into yourself. You're such a precious being. You're a diamond. I mean, we've covered our diamond. And what we need to do is to uncover it, and then we will be happy, because happiness is also something that we actually carry within us, but we've covered it. So we think by consuming, buying things, we will get happy. No, you will stay empty. You just uncover it by living your true self. Then you will be happy in one piece. I mean, you will be in love. You will be in balance. So when you accept yourself the way you are, you give yourself a great gift. And also your life situation, whatever situation you're in is a chance for you to grow in life. Be grateful. I want to add gratefulness. Be grateful from morning till you go to sleep for everything that happens to you, even the bad things. Because the bad things, the stress, they make you reflect. They make you think, do I want this? Is this me? Why am I in this movie? I mean, I want to get out of it, So nobody is a bad one. Even though sometimes we could shoot somebody to the moon, right? I mean, this is clear. But everything is actually good, And what we have to learn is also to be forgiving. I mean, I would like shortly to mention the ancestors. When we come to Earth, we also bring our ancestral line with us without knowing. It is in our DNA, and maybe we have a lot of trouble in our life due to our ancestral line. And I can tell you one thing. Once I realized what violence and abuse my mother and grandmother lived, and I could imagine it went on further back, it was nothing new. I could understand more what my task was on this earth. I had come here to cut this line. And that's why I had all this violence and all these bad things. I mean, of course, I was sometimes close to death due to all what happened. But I'm still alive, you see, and I let my diamond shine now. I mean, just, that's gone. So always remember, there's always, as Louise said before, I'm repeating it, there's a reason for everything. And it's not always, it's about us, yes, but we have a higher task sometimes to contribute to our family line and to the world. I mean, we are not separate beings. even though we think we are sometimes, oh, I'm so alone, nobody is with me. But we are not alone, actually. But we all know we go through these frustrations. I mean, we know that. So one thing that is really important is to forgive your ancestors and to forgive yourself. I mean, we are our worst enemy, actually. We never forgive ourselves. We would say, okay, he's been like this and like that. I can forgive him or forgive her. But we are so hard on ourselves. We judge ourselves for making a mistake, saying, why couldn't you do it better? We talk like this to ourselves. Why are we doing this? I mean, everybody makes mistakes. So, okay, I try to do better next time. I didn't know how to do it properly. Behave towards yourself as you would towards a good friend, your best friend. You would take your friend in your arms, you would give him a kiss or her, you would hug her and say, come on, don't worry that much. It's not so bad. It's okay. So this is what we have to do with ourselves. We are so violent by forbidding ourselves, by judging ourselves, by just being so harsh sometimes. I mean, I wonder sometimes how we could survive, be still alive with all this violence we are inflicting on ourselves. We fill ourselves with junk food. We judge ourselves for everything. I mean, we look into the mirror, focus first on the wrinkles instead of looking into the eyes and seeing how beautiful and unique you are. We're just putting ourselves down. So one way out of violence is to get rid of all that. No judgment. Don't judge yourself, but don't judge others. If you catch yourself judging others, you can measure from the intensity of doing it, how much you're still judging yourself. Everything is a mirror outside. So you can watch and see, I'm doing this. Okay. Better change, So be loving, take care of yourself. And one thing that can also help you to improve that is pausing during the day, whatever you're doing. Sometimes put down things you don't, just have a break, sit, have a cup of tea, go for a walk, look at nature, enjoy it. I always thank God, for the flowers. We have millions of flowers, for the birds that are twittering. Sometimes they sing for me, I know, because they are just turning the volume up when I'm passing. I've had this in moments of deep sadness. I had birds singing for me in autumn when they wouldn't sing, but this one would start screaming and I would waken up, and come to my senses again. So this is all we can also be grateful about, because they are gifts, and it's a shame if we miss them by rushing with light speed through our lives, focusing on the future, getting what we have here in the now, And there's also pausing before sleeping. I'm calling it like this. I've forgotten about it, but it came back to me. I light a candle before I go to sleep, and I just sit in front of it. And I don't meditate, I don't do anything. I just sit and look into it.
Yeah.
And sometimes thoughts pass, and it helps you to empty you from the day, to make peace with yourself, and you will sleep better. And I'm glad I remembered it again. I mean, so yeah. And one important question I want to leave with you is also, do you love what you're doing? Or have you forgotten what you love to do? So, I mean, I think you have quite a few things to reflect upon, I hope. It was a bit chaotic, but this is also, I mean, the whole, full moon energy and everything. I hope I could give you an idea and be helpful for your path, your inner path. Follow it and give yourself a chance every day and be good and loving to yourself. So,
and I think one of the most key things is just allowing us to again come into that radical honesty and recognize that the acts of violence that we are perpetrating on ourselves through self-judgment, through self-criticism, through looking at that which we dislike about ourselves rather than appreciating the light that we have, the light that we bring, what we have achieved. I mean, we all fall into that trap. I mean, with the, I'll just reflect on the physical symptoms that I've had has meant that for the whole of January, I was basically housebound. I couldn't do anything. I had labyrinthitis. I was unable to stand up without feeling completely off balance, and at times I did fall down. And it was a great moment of one, feeling completely and utterly alone, because I do live alone and I have responsibility for 2 dogs, and then the realization that I'm not alone, because all of the community of dog walkers that I just meet every day and say hello to all came round and rallied round. They got me some shopping. They walked my dogs. It was amazing. And it gave me that opportunity, that space, but it also took away my ability to be active. And so I did put weight on. And then I found myself looking in the mirror going, oh my God, my bum's so big, or I'm not fitting in my clothes, rather than looking in the mirror and seeing that spark of light in my eyes, or, I love my hair, or, whatever it is. But we have been trained to focus on that which we don't like about ourselves, but we don't see that as being violent towards ourselves. We assume that violence has to be this, the crazy stuff you might see on the television, or a real obvious act of violence. But it's the small violences that we enact upon ourselves that build up over time, that I think that's why we can take those baby steps. We can take the baby steps into self-love. And, when we catch ourselves in that moment of being judgmental, of being, critical about ourselves, or where we are in this now moment because of what's happened, or the situation that I'm in. I'm still in the state of, I have severe anemia. I don't have the energy to go to the gym. I don't have the energy to really focus on my fitness. So it is what it is at the minute. But, allowing myself to deflect from those violent thoughts about myself and go out and walk in nature and have a sit down and listen to the birds and think, this is absolutely amazing. This is wonderful. And how beautiful the bird song is, and how lucky I am to be able to be sat in this moment in the sunshine listening, and bringing that appreciation, like you say. So I think that's one of the key things is, even if people can't take away, loads and loads from the conversation, just having that awareness that violence actually comes in many different forms, and that we're doing it to ourselves all the time. Doesn't matter where you are on your spiritual journey. I'm pretty sure that everybody in some point in their day is having a negative thought about themselves or their situation or something. And so I feel that for me, that's a big kind of takeaway, because I caught myself doing it, this week, looking at myself and wishing that I was back to being, the slim me prior to the labyrinthitis. And it's like, well, I will get there again, but I also have amazing qualities in the physical state that I'm in now, and I don't get to negate those just because this situation has meant that I can't look the way that I looked 6 months ago. So I think that that's one of the key things. One thing that I do want to ask you though is, because obviously you are an astrologer, looking at the astrology and returning to gentleness, is that around going into the higher vibrational aspects of where this lunar eclipse may be landing, or where our south nodes are or our north nodes? Is it around that, or how can we use the astrology to come back into gentleness?
I mean, as I said before, when you bring your topic in the first house with the shadows and everything of aggression as an example, the opposite side is the north node, which is the opposite energy, which is actually what you can look at, and you will get enough examples in your life where you can see somebody's energy being like this. Seventh house is Libra energy, Venus. They can't make up their minds. They always want to please people. They don't want to have any conflict, but they provoke conflict with that. So what we can do, and this is, I would like to stay just on a normal level. I wouldn't think of something higher or whatever. It just, I see somebody as an example. I'm now very impatient, and I see this Libra person who stays quiet. And then I learn, oh, this exists also, And what we can do, the way I apply astrology, the karmic astrology I've been taught, is to incorporate from the opposite. Nobody can become his opposite. Nobody can be a person in harmony, and if he brings math energy into this life, you can't leave this being to become this other one. But you can incorporate aspects and work on your shadows, turn them into the positive energy of your own topic, and then you will get to the center. And for me, the center in the horoscope, the circle, this is where love is. This is what I mean, I don't know if others say this too, no idea. But this is when we get into a balance with ourselves, when we are not overboarded by our own emotions, which we bring in with our topic. I mean, other people have other topics. Somebody is chaotic. The opposite is absolutely order. Everything is perfect. I mean, this chaotic person can't become a person who will have everything like this. But maybe this person can incorporate some of the energies of the opposite and to be a structured chaos, which is very good, not just, somewhere forlorn. So you could apply the energy, and I think it's all about getting into a balance. That's why we should take care of our emotions. And I think it's also when we had a lot of emotional abuse and we don't feel our emotions, we also need to detect them in a soft way. Don't be rough with yourself. By observing, you can detect your own emotions and hold them in your arm, and everything is okay. Sadness, being angry, or whatever, everything is okay. But don't turn against you and scold you. Oh, you still not learned this. Oh, now I put on weight again. Now I'm this, I'm that. I mean, come on, it's a waste of time. And sometimes we are not happy. I mean, I also have weight issues sometimes. But I realized, okay, when I get very emotional within and I have to go through certain topics in my life, I put on weight, not because I'm eating a lot. It's just the emotions give us weight. So we can have a look at weight in a different way, and not as, oh, you're so fat and you surely eat some only hamburgers or whatever. No, I mean, some people, they eat just hamburgers. But you know what I mean? When you're on this path we are walking, just always be loving. I have to tell myself also. And I really learned to cut my bad thinking about myself. I would just say, hey, stop it. No. We're not going into this, you know. And then just letting go, you know, not thinking, oh, you've been thinking again like this, and scolding yourself for thinking badly, you know.
No,
So,
absolutely.
you
And
know,
again, it like you say, we are multidimensional beings. We are part of the all that is. And so, you know, we are all of the vibrations, we are all the frequencies, and we're all the emotions. And so it's not wrong to feel any one emotion, you know. And sometimes with what's going off in life, it's appropriate, you know, it's appropriate to feel sad, it's appropriate to feel angry, it's appropriate to feel happy, in different experiences. And for me, it's allowing it to flow and not holding on to anything, and again scolding yourself for or not expressing it because, you know, somebody else, it might make someone else feel uncomfortable. If that's your truth, allowing yourself to be in that truth, in that moment, because in 10 moments down the line you'll be in another truth, you know. And it's allowing that flow, allowing that energy to be expressed honestly, truthfully to yourself, and maintaining that flow of energy as well.
I would like to add something, because you to the emotions. The moon stands also for emotions and feelings. So here we are with this lunar eclipse and the full moon. It is, and with the full moon in Scorpio, it brings us back into our feelings. We have the chance to dive into it, you know. And I think actually it's all about feelings and emotions. The more I work with myself, I go on in this life, it is that we have to connect with our heart. It's been for years that I always get this message, it's all about love, all about love. And I say, yeah, okay. You know, sometimes we get it with our mind, and, you know, but thinking of that we are diving into the era of Aquarian for the next 2000 years. There, the main topics are community, love, and truthfulness. I mean, there are other topics, but I'm just, these are very important ones. And love in a higher sense, love between all of us, not between man and woman, because we have fallen out of it.
Yeah.
And this is, but before we don't connect with our heart, we can't connect with other people, because we have no idea. We will again be in this judging, analyzing, taking things personally. I mean, whatever somebody else does has never anything to do with us. But it's difficult. I mean, when you're in the situation, you can't see it. Maybe afterwards, and after a few trials you see it immediately. And just stay within yourself, always connected with the heart. Ask yourself in crucial moments where you don't know how shall I do it now, how shall I behave towards this person, ask yourself, what would love do now? And take yourself out, don't get involved. When you get involved, you hurt yourself, and then again, you're violent. Violent is such a subtle things. I had to realize that some people don't understand me sometimes. I would, for example, I would get all these marketing letters. And I mean, a bombardment. And then I would say, please don't send me that many letters. And it would go on. And then I would say, listen, this is violence to me. I can't cope with that. I'll unsubscribe. And then people would laugh at me and say, but this is not violent. Well, I don't agree on that. This is the way I sense it. All this bombardment of information, screens all over the cities, on telly, all these advertisements, this is all violence to me, But not everybody has to understand me. I don't ask for that. But it is important to realize what we do to ourselves. And then we will become more aware of what is going around us and what people do. What is happening around us, But start within you, everybody.
Absolutely.
I don't know if there are questions or.
Yeah, I'm just aware of the time. There has been somebody who's put a question in the Q&A. Caroline says they've progressed Sun square Saturn Pluto for next year and a half. Scary, and they never watch the news or TV. But she asked, what do you think of my progressed Sun squaring Saturn Pluto?
Well, I can't. I can't answer to that. I'm sorry. I'm not going. I would have to see the whole picture of your situation and your topic, what you're in. This is not. I can't answer that like this.
Yeah. No.
There again, don't stick to details in your horoscope, in your chart. I give you this advice. Follow your intuition, watch what your life situation is right now. What are your triggers? And don't think of the future because, you will lose the moment. Maybe you should, Caroline, right, is the name. Dear Caroline, maybe you should just focus on the now, the present moment. And trust in life that you're carried, that nothing is against you. You don't need to be afraid. Whatever happens, as I said before, life happens for you, not to you. No matter what situation it is good in the end. It's what you came here for, to learn, So I hope I could help you with this answer.
Yeah, I just want to speak to the special offers that you have provided for the audience as well, because you've provided a number of different options of how they can connect with you. So package A is an hour to an hour and a half lunar node birth chart analysis, and this is about looking at how the lunar node analysis serves your soul path. So do you want to speak a little bit more to that?
I mean, we could, I would like to say something. We had this interview in the last season. I was participating. And in this interview, I talked about the soul's path. So if somebody wants to know really more in detail how I work, you can go on my YouTube channel. I have this interview on my channel. It's Maria Fels. You just try to find me. You will see it. I don't have many videos. And it is what I've been saying before with the example of the first house, Aries and Libra. We would look at what you bring into this life and where your triggers are at the moment, or which have been your triggers throughout your life. And then we would see what can be changed now, what you've already changed, which you surely have. And I'm sometimes gifted by spirit that I can see really deep within you when we're talking. and I get the information from your soul. And I'm very grateful for that, because they help me to bring it to the point. And so I can give you tools how to work on with it, or if you want to meet again after a while to look into it, we can look into it. But the main, the focus is always on your topic. We look at transits, we can look at it, but some people don't feel transits very well. Some people do. It's not about the transits, because this is my opinion, okay? So not everybody has to agree with me, but it is about what have I come here for to learn, and to how can I get into balance with what my topic is. So I don't need to consider any other aspects outside, you know.
Yeah, and again, looking at the lunar nodes, as you say, is deepening that insight into what your soul decided to work on in this life, and really go into the topics of, you know, the where your nodes are, and what house they're in and things. Yeah. So package A is for those who've never received a lunar chart reading with Maria, and it's a substantial discount that you're providing, 44% discount to the audience on that. And package B is for somebody who has already had a lunar node analysis with Maria and wants to go deeper. And that's a 50-minute deepening lunar node birth chart analysis. And again, quite highly discounted for the audience. So package C is the astrological card reading. And again, you're stating that it's a really good tool for a general overview, but also you could bring single questions to the card reading as well, and it looks at what needs to be worked on in the present and where the focus lies now, to enable people to kind of move forward with whatever is possibly going on in their lives that they're struggling with. And then you've also got a 50-minute empowerment coaching package as well. So do you want to speak about the empowerment coaching 50-minute, what people would expect to kind of gain from that session?
Sometimes we are overwhelmed by the situation we are in. And despite the progress we've already made, we get into negative patterns again. And we are sometimes on the edge of giving up. And I support people with this kind of situations where we just focus on the now. It's not important, no astrology included. I mean, if we've done astrology together, okay, we can incorporate it. But it's about giving you the courage and empowering you not to let go of your goals, to go more into self-love, if this is your goal. If you want to do your own business and you will give up because some things haven't worked out well, and you think you are not capable, we would look into this. Because sometimes when we get challenged, we get tested. I've been tested for about 30 years if I want to go on with my business, and I really had challenges, but I love what I'm doing, and that's why I never gave up. And I want to support people and be of service to them with this, not to give up upon yourself, no matter what's happening. Is this okay? Is this okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, obviously, my work is moving from disempowerment to what I call standing in your sovereignty. And that's that really linking in with this conversation is, you know, empowerment is self-love. Because when we're in that space of self-love and we're in that space of integrity and authenticity, we're in our sovereign space. You know, we've got our firm boundaries. We know who we are. You know, we know what we're saying yes to. We know what we're saying no to. But more importantly, we're centered within ourselves, and we're fulfilling ourselves. And if we each individual, I mean, however many billion of people on this planet, if we were each in that space, what a wonderful world it would be. It would just be luminous, wouldn't it? I mean, just the radiation of love, the frequency of love that would emanate from every single one of us would just raise the frequency to the roof. I mean, it really would. And we kind of have this thought, oh, but I'm just one person. But if we're all just one person, but if we all did that, if we all focused on bringing joy into my life in this moment, bringing love into my life in this moment, fulfilling myself in this moment, if we all did that, the transformation on the planet would just be immense. It really would. That wave, you would literally see it go out throughout the whole world. And that's what excites me. That's what gets me keeping going each day.
You're speaking from my heart, all that you said now. I feel a revival within me. When I was about 30 years old, I would say to people around me, if we would all be in love and look that we would, I would say it like this, that we are balanced within, we would have a happy world, a good world. And I don't know if people understood me, because I never actually I didn't found anybody I could talk to with this. But I always remembered during all these phases of approaching self-love, falling out, falling in again, and that this is the only way. And that I had already had this on my mind as a very young woman. And it is about this. And this is also, I think this lunar eclipse is also a chance for us to go deep within, to get into our hearts. And if we are sad, embrace yourself, give yourself a hug, be nice to yourselves. That's all you need to do,
Absolutely. Linda's just asking, what ceremony would you suggest for this momentous eclipse and full moon for our best evolution forward? For me personally, I'm going to be doing a fire ceremony with a friend. Again, it doesn't matter if you're not prepared in this moment where we've, kind of been bang on in the eclipse energy, because we're in the eclipse energies, we're in the eclipse energies for a good while. So prior to this day, I have been reflecting, checking in on myself, looking at where I have overstepped my own boundaries, where I've allowed others to overstep the boundaries, what isn't in alignment in my life at the minute in terms of my own behavior to myself, but also, with everything. Again, you can start small. You can just start with me. What am I doing with me, to me? And you can break it down into the different areas of life. So, relationships with myself and other people, self-care, work, recreation, you can kind of, if you have that kind of analytical mind, you can break it down into those forms and just write lists, but free form, just let words flow from you. And then for me, it's taking it to the fire and allowing the fire to release it, take it. And having that intention, because again, intention is everything, everything is energy. So if I'm setting that intention that I'm letting go of all of this that's not in alignment, and I'm therefore creating the space within to fill it with my own love and light, and to bring that joy into that space, to bring that love into that space. And from this moment forward, just again, without judgment, because we're human, we're going to step out of it every now and again, just letting love be the foundation of how I relate to myself, how I relate to others, and how I relate to everything that I'm doing in the day. So that's my suggestion. Have you got a different suggestion or anything you want to add, Maria?
It's actually all is said. I advise also, if you haven't had the time, and even if the eclipse is, in 2 hours, we are out of it, it doesn't matter. The energy is still here. take moments of stillness. Be by yourself. If you haven't had the time to go deeper within due to your professional, private life, whatever, take conscious time out and just be, or just, as I said, with pausing before sleeping, do the candle, do things, in quiet. I have chosen for quite a few weeks or more, I live like a hermit, actually. I don't see many people. I'm with myself. I reflect, but it's the best way to find out. Just be. Don't even need to reflect. Focus on what you're doing when you're cooking. Just be in the cooking. Be in the food. Be the food. And just melt with every moment you are in. And yes, that's all I can say. And I wish you all the best in this respect. You all deserve it. And like this, we can really contribute to a new world. So don't give up on yourselves. Never, ever, please.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to have to bring the conversation to a close there, because I'm just aware of how long we've been speaking for. Thank you so much, Maria. And there's a number of comments in the chat saying thank you very much. It's been very informative, a great lesson. And lots of gratitude in the chat.
Thank you very much. I don't see them, the comments, so I thank you from deep within my heart.
So thank you, Maria, for joining us again this season and bringing this wonderful topic of conversation to the fore. It's pertinent for any time, but more so because of the eclipse as well. But it's basically the foundation for me of the ascension work, of the spiritual growth, of good spiritual health, really. But yeah, like I said, if we each did this, what an amazing world we would be living in. And that's what I hold on to. So you do matter. It doesn't matter that it's only you. We're not just anything. You are an integral part of the collective, and you are the center of your own universe. So allow that to be your focus and appreciate that as well. Tomorrow is the last live call, and it is with me. I thought I was going to be bringing the conversation of seeking our happy ever after, because that was what the transmission was before the summit started. But actually, they want me to talk about releasing monadic soul contracts. So I'm excited.
Oh, great!
Well, so and I'll probably do an activation live, as I normally do in the call, just to get us started, basically, and go in and see whether there's at least one monadic soul contract for you to release during this session. So I'll speak more to that tomorrow. So hopefully you'll be able to join me live at the usual time of 6 o'clock UK, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central European time, I think.
Zurich, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock Central European time. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who's joined us live today. Sorry it was such a long conversation, but there was a lot of good, juicy information packed into it. And I look forward to seeing you on the last call tomorrow. Take care, everybody. So much love. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Maria. That was wonderful.
Oh, I loved it. I just said, we are so compatible. Did you notice that? They made us really flow into one another, I tell you, Louise, it's always such an adventure with you. And I think we are just very compatible. And, I'm telling you, I completely lost orientation. But I think what had to be said was said. What do you think?
Oh, no, absolutely. And don't worry. I'm super sensitive to the energies, and it's fine, but I always trust that, you know, whatever needs to come through and come across will come through and come across. You know, people will receive exactly what they need from this transmission.
Yeah.
And recognizing that, you know, the transmissions are energy as well. So even if they're not receiving it through the verbal, you are transmitting what spirit wanted you to bring to the conversation energetically through it. So yeah, but I was getting what you were saying, and it's kind of like I was getting this download of the summary of it. So yeah, it was
Yeah, but it's perfect because, you know, it was also more lively for the people, you know, because I would say, you would say, and then, you know, it's not, I'm not learning what I make myself notes because it's a new topic. Sometimes I need to look into it.
yeah.
And I really, I thought, where am I actually? I don't know. Yes, well, what did I want to say? And then they made me, because I told you, I've asked them to tell me